They tried a dead man for heresy. A pope. In the annals of history, few events are as bizarre, as macabre, and as utterly unbelievable as the Cadaver Synod of 87 AD. Imagine the flickering candlelight of a Roman basilica, the air heavy with dread as a deceased pontiff long buried is exhumed dressed in papal vestments and propped upon a throne to face judgment. This was not a dream but a grim reality in 9th century Rome. This is the story of Pope Formosus and his posthumous trial. To understand this extraordinary event, we must first understand the man at its center. Formosus was a prominent figure in the Roman Church long before his papacy. He served as Bishop of Portus, gaining a reputation for diplomatic skill. Yet his career was not without controversy. In 1076 he was excommunicated by Pope John VIII, accused of deserting his diocese and conspiring against the Pope. He even swore an oath never to return to Rome or resume episcopal functions, an oath crucial for his later accusers. Despite these setbacks, Formosus' influence grew. In 1891, amidst a fragmented and politically charged Rome, he was elected pope. His ascent sowed the seeds of deep animosity among rival factions. The 9th century in Rome was a viper's nest of political intrigue. The papacy was a prize in constant power struggles between aristocratic families. Formosus, upon his election, aligned with Arnulf of Carinthia, whom he crowned Holy Roman Emperor in 1886. This directly challenged the powerful Spoleto family, particularly Lambert and his mother Ageltrude, who viewed themselves as rightful arbiters of imperial power. Formosus had previously crowned Gaetha III of Spoleto, only to crown Arnulf, later playing one faction against another. This perceived betrayal by the Spoleto faction would prove Formosus' undoing even beyond the grave. The grievances were not merely theological, they were deeply personal and violently political, rooted in a desperate scramble for temporal control. Formosus' reign ended with his death in April 1886. His passing did little to quell the political storms he had weathered. What followed was a rapid succession of short-lived pontificates. Boniface VI Formosus, immediate successor, lasted just 15 days. Then came Stephen VI, a figure whose papacy would be etched in infamy. Stephen had been Bishop of Anagni and, crucially, was a protege of the Spoleto faction, particularly Lambert. His election marked the return of Spoleto influence to the papal throne, and with it a burning desire to settle old scores. The stage was now set for an act of unprecedented vindictiveness. But here's the truly shocking part: this wasn't merely a political purge, it was a theatrical, grotesque spectacle designed to erase a man's very memory and legacy. In January of 87 AD, Pope Stephen VI convened a synod, a solemn ecclesiastical council. Its purpose? To put a dead man on trial. Formosus' body, buried for 9 months, was exhumed from its tomb in St. Peter's Basilica. Historical records indicate the corpse was decaying, yet it was dressed in full papal vestments, placed upon a throne in the Basilica of St. John Lateran, and subjected to a formal trial. A deacon stood beside the reanimated pontiff, answering on his behalf. The charges leveled against Formosus were numerous and complex, meticulously detailed in the Liber Pontificalis. Primarily, he was accused of violating canon law by transferring from his original bishopric of Portus to the See of Rome, a direct breach of the ancient rule against episcopal translation. Further accusations included perjury for breaking his oath not to return to Rome and performing sacred rites after having been excommunicated by John VIII. The proceedings were a farce, a predetermined judgment. Formosus was found guilty on all counts. The sentence was as horrific as the trial itself. All of Formosus' pontifical acts, including his ordinations and consecrations, were declared null and void. This meant any bishop, priest, or deacon he had ordained was now improperly consecrated. His papal vestments were stripped from his rotting body. In a final barbarous act, the 3 fingers of his right hand, the very fingers used for blessings, were severed. His desecrated remains were then reburied in a common grave, only to be later exhumed and thrown into the Tiber River. The intention was clear: not only to condemn Formosus, but to utterly obliterate his memory and legacy from the Church. Yet the story doesn't end there. The river, it seemed, was not ready to hold a pope. The Cadaver Synod or Synodus Horrend.